Bioware, specifically with Anthem, have announced that the upcoming releases that they're planning for the basically the roadmap stuff no longer exists. In terms of like the roadmap is gone.
Oh no.
Unbelievable. I'm getting a bad reputation here of being the double caller on most of these shows I'm calling in on anymore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the theretrorents Retro Gaming Podcast. It is episode 46. We're almost in our 50s. And I am Al.
I'm Nick.
You'll notice you can hear him this week because I don't have my stupid streaming audio ducking filter still on that I forgot to turn off. So yeah, that was the audio problem in last episode. I apologize for that.
How dare you, sir?
No shit. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good.
Very good. How's the week been?
Week's been pretty chill actually. The weather's starting to turn. Got a few chilly mornings, I think, but it hasn't gotten too cold yet. Like the afternoon's still nice, so it's like the temperature nice, and we're going. We had our softball competition. Well, competition, but it's a charity thing that they do. So it's like we had our tourneys finishing up today. Actually, we got massacred today. We were going against the tryhard team.
You're going against who?
The tryhard team. Like it was basically like everyone. It's for charity, so it's designed to be casual and just have fun.
You were on the we don't really give a fuck team, and then there was the team that was out there to kill you.
Yeah, they're out to murder, death, kill. They're walking out with all the gear on. It's like, well,
no,
this is our lives now.
Well, this is where we're at.
But we had some early wins that were actually quite fun, and again, it was for a good cause. We generate charity out of it, and then the teams play. So I think our team may have actually come out on top in terms of the charity donations. So.
That's beautiful. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Shit, I wish I were that active. I need to be that active. I need to fucking play a sport.
That's all you gotta do. Just walk.
Yeah, actually, I need to just start walking. I've got my treadmill, and I actually don't mind the treadmill. I used to hate it, but I've started doing it, and because it's in my office, I can just crank on a podcast and do my hamster shit for a little while.
Walking pod,
Just walking. And I mean, having the podcast definitely distracts me enough, and then my out of shape finishes it off within like 15 minutes. Because I try to do like the brisk walk, really move it, and I envy how I was like 2 years ago doing all the walking at Air Products for the step challenge. I was doing like. By the end of the summer, I could do like 1.5 miles and not even like be dying. It was great, but not so much now. Oh, so how's the gaming front going?
So on that, I can finally reveal that I have a VR headset.
Nice.
Yeah,
so that's what was coming, huh?
Indeed, I got a Rift.
Yes.
Or Vive Rift. I think, yeah.
Well, no, there's two different things. There's the Vive, and then there's the Oculus Rift.
Vive, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mixing it up. It's a Vive.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
I'm loving it.
It's awesome.
I'm starting to get into it. I've got the subscription to the Vive port.
Vive port, where you get like 5 games a month or something like that.
No, it's like everything else that we've been seeing this year. It's basically a subscription service, and then they rotate games through it.
That's what it
constantly
is.
add to the library.
So that makes me wonder.
It's like a whole vast thing.
Have you played Groundhog Day 2 yet?
I don't think so. I think I've seen it come up though, so I got to check that out then.
I have heard phenomenal things about that game. It's actually, from what I understand, really awesome. and it's basically a sequel to the movie.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounded so bizarre, but like every review I was reading was like, look, yes, it's Groundhog Day 2 in VR or something like that. They're like, don't let the name fool you. The name sounds lame. It's fucking amazing, especially if you liked Groundhog Day. Like, I was just like, man, this sounds really neat. The one guy was like, I literally just spent an hour sitting down and playing a guitar in VR. I was like, shit, that sounds really fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm thrilled by it. Now I'm also kind of like testing my limits with it because I have found it's like if it's like puzzle-like games, I do good because it's very controlled movement.
Not a lot of movement in the background.
Not a lot of movement in the background. It's not crazy like gun shooter action. There are a few games where I've had them in my library because they were play the game and then also have like your VR's tacked on, or I had like a VR module to it.
Like what?
Subnautica was one.
Oh really? I could see that being really disorienting.
It was. It was actually one of the very first ones that I actually ended up trying, which may have been a mistake.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Because it was like, oh, I love Subnautica. I love it. Like, yeah, let's do this in VR. And I loaded in, and everything's cool. And then as soon as I started moving, I'm like,
yeah.
Now, you
gotta get your sea legs.
Yeah, in VR's defense, it wasn't necessarily a problem with the rig. It was that it with Subnautica, it was definitely tacked on afterwards.
Yes.
But I was talking to like some other people on the VR boards and whatnot. They're like, basically, like if the game's not specifically designed for it, it'll have a lot of shortcomings and it may not, play very well in terms of VR. It's like, that's one of them. It's unfortunate because again, I love Subnautica from a single player, or I say single player, but from a computer monitor perspective, like absolutely fun. But when I get into VR, I was like, looking around was fine, but as soon as I started moving, it was like, whoa, okay. I think I did there's a demo basically of the Spider-Man Far From Home, I think it was.
I heard that one's a little rough too.
It is a little rough. Now it does have like if you set it to comfortable, basically like every time you move it shrinks the view to like this pinhole, which definitely helped. But like by the end of the kind of the demo play session, it was another one of those like, okay, whoa, I gotta get this thing off. But those are like I'm finding where those boundaries are at, and then again talking with kind of the VR board community, that it's like one you have to kind of like practice at it a little bit.
Yeah, you have to get acclimated to it.
Yeah, it's not something where it's like you on the console at the TV or at your PC monitor where it's like you just sit down and you go. It's like no, with VR you kind of like you said you got to get your sea legs. And don't feel bad about it's like if you're tapping out in the first 15 minutes, like that can be very, very normal. Like
first time I did it, I made it like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. It's like you'll start to build a little bit of endurance, and then also you'll start overriding your own brain function and stop. It won't necessarily prevent motion sickness the entire time, but it'll trim it down to a point.
Yeah, you'll get used to it. Some recommendations for you.
Okay.
Because I borrowed Luke's Rift for like a month back in December.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm eventually going to get one because I had a ball with it. But I played some really great games. One, Jeremy from Bad Fodder Figures, and he's in the SavePoint, Jeremy Lyons, got me hooked on, called From Other Suns.
Okay.
It is a space opera-ish kind of game. You have a ship, you control the ship, there's ship combat, and then you can beam onto other ships, and then it's like, commando style, got to get in and like get a disc or something and blow up robots. It's actually very, very fun. Mm-hmm. Another one you might like that I think will get you used to it is called I Expect You to Die.
Oh, I did see that at PAX where it's like kind of like a James Bond, villain scenario, and you're trying to escape from these impossible
situations. Yes. Yeah. Lots of fun. Dave and I played that for hours one night. There's another one, a wizard one, but I don't remember the name of it. It might even have wizard in the title. But like basically like you go through wizard training, and then there's like a whole game to it, and like different hand gestures or different spells. Like to do a fireball, you kind of flick your hand forward so that your palm is up, and then the fire like appears in your palm, and then you like squeeze the controller like it's a ball, and then you actually throw it at your targets. It's a blast. I had so much fun with that. I'm just trying to think if there was any others that I thought really blew me away. There's actually a bunch. If you post in the SavePoint for recommendations, I know Jeremy will jump right on it. He is such a champion of VR, like of the platform itself, and like he's actually doing a VR stream for Extra Life, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like he's got me like an evangelist to it too. Just like between his enthusiasm and all the really cool stuff he recommended to me, like I was just like, man, this shit's the future. This is so cool.
Oh yeah, it's definitely beyond gimmick, and I've been following it for some time.
Yeah.
And again, I think part of it is like I've had this little bit of a backlog of games that had dual purpose. Obviously, the bad part is I'm finding out some are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
Like puzzle games are good. Like I have Abduction, which is made by the people who made Myst.
Oh, neat.
Perfect game for it.
And if you want to get some exercise, Creed Road to Glory.
Oh, is that the boxing one?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like really fun.
It is Beat Saber. I haven't done Beat Saber yet, but
I never did play that, and I feel like I missed out.
Beat Saber's another one.
I heard that's a phenomenal game in VR. Yeah, so that's definitely one to check out. Yeah, I've got to pick that up. God damn. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm really glad you're on the VR train. I cannot wait to join it myself, to be honest with you. I'm getting ready to pick up a headset maybe for Christmas and get on that because I really had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Any other VR games, or is that pretty much it?
I'm trying to think. So I've been playing Torn, which is another puzzle based game. I'm having a little bit of fun with that. It's already getting repetitive.
Yeah.
So and it's not a highly rated game. Like it was just like whatever looked good at first. It was like, okay, let me just start with this and kind of start dipping my toes into it. But I've kind of like started getting a backlist going and going to start rotating through. I think again I'm going to kind of stick to those puzzle games because I almost feel like with VR it's the perfect platform for what was like these missed games. I talked about Abduction.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like those puzzles type games you don't see them that much anymore on PC, but in the VR environment, like it's perfect because you're like manipulating cogs and turning things and investigating, looking around. That looks awesome. Another one I want to play is that I think there's a stealth game or something. It's like you're hiding around or crawling around like some kind of like medieval castle or something. I forget the title, but I remember seeing it was like, ooh, that looks good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's such a cool like new experience of games. Like it's a new way to play a game, and it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the night Luke brought it over and I played it for the first time. We all played. Like Ann played it, my brother-in-law played it, and I remember saying like I haven't been this like excited and mind blown and just like new experience in the video game world since like I'd played my first console, to where it was like. What I mean? Where you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe something like this exists, And then it's like you're playing VR and it's like, it just changes your entire perspective of what a game can be.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's very, very cool. Well, that's awesome, man. So you're knee deep in VR. I know this will make Jeremy happy, and he's probably going to reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I opened the invitation and definitely opened a recommendation. So
hook him up, Jeremy. Hook him up.
Point me in the right direction.
Yeah, that's Nick Watt and the SavePoint and Black Eagle Apps on Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure Jeremy is like eager for VR buddies. There's a lot of like multiplayer games on it too. Like From Other Suns is multiplayer, and him and I.
Okay.
We streamed it one night. We had such a blast. Like that was
I've done
really
Star
fun.
Trek. Oh yeah, Star Trek Bridge Commander.
Oh, I never got to play that.
Bridge Captain. Oh man, it's so good. It's like that it is made for VR. Like you don't have to like you're not really moving around, which again makes it perfect. You're at a console.
Yeah.
But just like the whole like it's like it premieres with the whole Abramsverse Enterprise, but it has you can load up like the Enterprise D bridge or the original TOS bridge, and it's just like all the
that's
Captain
fulfilling Nick's childhood fantasies right there.
Yeah, it's like yes.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's probably going to be one of the first games I get when I get a VR headset, actually.
Yeah, hands down. Like I would say, for any Trekkie fan, but I think like for any good VR fan, like the Star Trek Bridge crew is a must-have,
and we can play that multiplayer too.
I would say like you can play it solo, but it's definitely like a party game. Like you definitely want to be hooking up with friends and playing that. It's like it's the only way to play that.
I can't wait. Well, I mean, crap. I've had a nice gaming week. Not as exciting with VR, but there is a lot of neat stuff out right now. I actually reached out to Alt Shift, the developers. If you remember on our last episode, we were talking about that game Crying Suns that had a demo coming out.
Oh yeah.
A faster than light inspired space opera game. I have played the crap out of that. They hooked me up with a review key, and it is a blast.
Nice.
It has a faster than light feel. It has that challenge in that, you're. I don't even want to spoil the story because the story so far is actually really, really good and really intriguing. And I'm trying to kind of figure out what's going on, but I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, you're basically an admiral on a bigger ship. And combat is done through squadrons of different fighters and frigates and things that you have, and you moved around on a kind of a hex grid.
Right.
And it's very strategic in that sense. Then there's that kind of combat. Then there's the whole, you're jumping across sectors to try and figure out what's going on. At the end of each sector is a sector boss. And then very reminiscent of Faster Than Light, you're also being chased by whatever the hell. I haven't figured out what yet, and I don't feel like meeting it because the game's hard enough. And they're like, yeah, if they catch up with you, it's going to be a fight that's very difficult and unprofitable. I was like, well, I'm going to just keep moving then.
Now, what is the? I say because it's roguelike and you say FTL. What is the reset mechanism in terms of so in FTL when you reset, you're not really taking anything back. Now, if you happen to beat it, you get you're unlocking like a new ship or chassis or whatever. Some of the other games, so like Everspace that we mentioned, that one's interesting because whatever credits you've earned.
Yeah, you got to spend.
You have to spend, but you get those unlocks permanently.
Right.
The next reset. So what is Crying Sun's kind of mechanism?
This will shock everybody that's heard me on this show and my game playing abilities. I haven't died yet. I haven't played super far, but I've beaten 2 sector bosses. Like I've gotten to the end of a sector twice. Those fights are incredibly challenging. It's very much risk reward mechanic. You have basically a fuel component that gets consumed every time you jump, and there's jumping between stars, but there's also jumping in the local system, which really makes it tough. And I didn't realize it. I had this huge stockpile of fuel initially to kind of start the game, and I had done like 2 missions in the local system and got a bunch more. And then like every star system I would jump into, I was checking out every planet, and all of a sudden I looked and I'm like, fuck, I'm down to 5 fuel. And then like every time you jump, that chasing faction gets a little bit closer. So there was a time period where they were like 1 system behind me. And I was just like, jump in, check out 1 planet, jump out. Because like I was already running low and on fuel on top of it. But basically every time you beat a sector, you get to a border station where you can really stock up on fuel, commandos. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Then there's a ground component. That's kind of like the Star Trek exploration, planetary surface kind of thing.
Okay.
Very, very simplified. You don't actually control anything on the ground. You basically will dispatch commandos with an officer, and you'll have there'll be some kind of objective, something you're going to go check out, and then basically you'll see like a radar like topography map, and you'll just see like this dot where everybody's at, and then it'll be like do 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 do, like they're traveling a little bit, and then they'll run into something, and it'll say like discovered a stockpile, and then it'll do a roll and see what you find. Or it'll say you'll go a little bit further, and then it'll be like danger, and then it'll do a roll to see if you get into a fight or if you avoid it. And getting into a fight, you're going to get commandos wounded, possibly killed. And they're another resource you can refill, depending on what you find in your explorations and at the border outposts. But anyway, those are really risky situations, but that's where you come across a lot of the game's currency of scrap, which you use to buy things. But it's one of those like you're risking your neck every time. So it's like, how bad do I need this extra cash, or do I need to hopefully find fuel, or something along those lines. So it's very much a risk reward system. The story's great. The delivery of it, I love it. It's got great charm. It's got similar graphics to Faster Than Light, that same kind of retro feel to it, and it's just done very well. I'm very eager to get back to playing it some more, and I can't say enough good about Crying Suns right now. Basically, if you like Faster Than Light, it's a no-brainer. It's very much a similar spirit game, a bit more strategic. Think of it more on a grander scale. Now you've got a big cruiser and can launch like fighter squadrons and stuff.
Yeah, so a little more subplay, I guess, to it.
Yes. Very, very interesting, very cool. I like it a lot. Then, let's see. Then I got back into, because they released a standalone expansion this week, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor, and the expansion is called Prophet. The original is called Martyr. I highly recommend this game. I have put hours upon hours upon hours into it. It's Warhammer 40k Diablo. So action RPG, insane loot system, crazy crafting system. And I'm loving the story because I'm not super familiar with the 40k lore, but it was interesting enough to where I've actually started reading 40k books and watching YouTube videos to understand the lore a bit more, and I'm really into it now. It's got multiplayer, co-op, PvP.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a really great game. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I think it's Neocore Neocore, the developers. They do a ton of updates, and they've just been adding to the game left and right. The expansion was like the first paid thing, but they've been like unlocking the galaxy as people have been playing, and it's a huge game now, like crazy huge game. So I very much recommend it. If you like Warhammer 40k, it's a damn load of fun, and Prophet allows you to play as a tech adept. It adds a new character class, and that you're a member of the the Arcus Mechanicus. Basically, you're mostly a machine, and like you don't walk. You're on a platform with like metal spider legs that walks for you.
Oh wow!
And I love the new class. I hit level 20 today, and you basically build these little constructs to help you, like little tanks and stuff that follow you around. Like I have a tank that just swings giant axes at shit, and then backing him up, I have another tank that just launches jets of flame at anything coming at me. Highly recommend it. I'd love to play it with somebody. So if you have this game, reach out to me on Twitter at @RetrorentsAl. I would love to play the multiplayer on this with people I know. I've had a ton of fun with it. and I don't know. I've been hooked on it since the original came out, and this just brought me back into it hardcore, and I'm having a blast. Let's see. On top of that, UPlay Plus was free for this month, so I jumped on that to kind of do the evaluation, check it out. It's pretty damn sweet. I mean, I know everybody's probably getting tired of subscription services, but pretty much every single Ubisoft game is on here. So, like, I've dipped my feet into a bunch of stuff I haven't played yet, and I've been meaning to pick up. And now I don't have to spend $50 to try Anno 1800.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm really enjoying that too. I haven't played too much of it, but I like the Anno games. I like those builder games, and the 1800 one is a very interesting era that I've always liked reading about. You know, kind of the turn of the industrial age, and you know, trains and all that stuff. You basically you basically starting an island colony at one point, but it expands. I'm gathering once I get out of here, and then it's like trade ships, and you'll have a trading company. It's very, very neat so far if you're into those kind of games, and I'm definitely liking it. And the graphics are just gorgeous, beautiful game. So I played that through UPlay Plus, and I finally tried Watch Dogs 2. So much better than Watch Dogs 1 so far. I probably put about 3 hours into Watch Dogs 2. I like it so much more. I like the protagonist so much more. I hated the first Watch Dogs. I'm going to be perfectly honest. The protagonist in that just ruined it for me. I don't know. His name is
Really?
Aaron. Aiden. Did you ever play that one?
Funny enough, I have not played it yet. It's in my library. It's in. I think I got it with my graphics card, but I never got around to playing it.
I think the first one is garbage. Like, it has neat ideas, and there's a ton of stuff to do. But the protagonist is so utterly hateful. Like, not like he's hateful, but like he's just so poorly written. And I've never been that kind of person where a protagonist can ruin a game for me, but like it got to a point where I was just like, I don't fucking care about the story of this game. I don't want to fucking hear another word out of this idiot's mouth. Like, I'm just done.
That bad, huh?
It was horrible. Where Watch Dogs 2 is very cool. It's more like got a really cool grassroots hacker story, and I'm very much enjoying that. There's like tons of customization and, you know, buy different clothes and look cool and shit. It's like GTA without, you know, all the vile shit. It's actually really, really neat hacking mechanics and very interesting story so far. I do like it. So I was playing that. And then finally, the last one that Nick and I have been talking about also released. I've been playing Greedfall.
Oh, yeah.
I like this game. It's got some quirks. You can tell it's a smaller studio. Definitely aiming big, aiming for a Bioware level RPG with like the party mechanics and relationships and factions. I like it. I think the story's very interesting. The quests are very in-depth, and they're long. Jesus Christ, they're long. There's like nothing in this game is a simple fetch quest. There's just more to it, and it's going to be longer than you anticipate. So, but it is kind of an age of exploration in a fantasy world, no relation to our own. And that's actually going to kind of bring me to my first gripe of the episode, but I'm a little pissed off at some of the reviews that are coming out about this game. Saying that it's like glorifying the age of, you know, exploration and the atrocities that happen.
Colonization, yeah. I had a feeling watching the trailers, like, oh, you know, it like grabbed me, and then all of a sudden it's like, is that fringe of, you know, that have to find something wrong with everything? Is that what they're going to jump on?
And it is,
even though this clearly looks like a fantasy world, and it's not
completely made up
colonization of the Americas.
Yeah. Yes. And it's a completely made-up world, and I think so far, from what I've played of it, they have handled it perfectly. There's nothing, like, I haven't run into anything vile yet, but it is one of those, like, you know, right now they're new settlers into this new land, and they're kind of operating. You're kind of part of the merchants faction, and they're like, hey, look, like, let's not fucking piss the natives off. Let's, kind of leave them be. And so far, and there's the religious faction that's like, oh, we want to bring them to the light of Telema, and and it's that whole thing. And so far, like, I haven't seen them being forceful about it. But the whole point being is everything in this game is a made-up world. And
right.
So I'm seeing these articles like this one on Kotaku that's like, if you're handling this subject matter, they should have done this. And it's like, no, just fucking stop. Like, I don't think there's anyone out there in the gaming community that's like over the age of 16 that thinks that was a great age and the things that happened during the age of colonization were wonderful. And look, not every game is supposed to be some work of art that challenges our mores and makes us rethink an issue. And like, I think people are giving the developers Spider like unnecessary shit. Like, so far, and like, they've handled it with class. I have complaints about the game itself. Don't get me started. There's a boss fight within like the first 20 minutes of the game that at this point has been the hardest fight of the game for me, and it was a fucking hard fight.
But more on a technical nature, not from a storytelling.
Right, my complaints are technical. And, like, people, there are so many battles out right now that are worth fighting. This really isn't one of them. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to give me shit about that, and I don't get it, and I don't relate, and I don't. That's fine. But I'm also not looking for games to constantly have to have a message or open my eyes to something. I also read a lot of history, and I happily read as much as I can on any given subject. So it's like, look, if it's not your kind of content, or if it's not something you want to experience, then don't. But don't shit on the developers for it. I mean, I read a couple of reviews. I think one was on Kotaku, and I was like, I came so close to commenting, but I'm like, it's just not worth it. Like, there's so much other shit that is worth fighting and getting upset about, rather than some indie studio's game that happens to take place in a similar age, and they're handling it as good as I think they possibly could.
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing is, granted, Kotaku does a lot of clickbait, and that, like, that's the part that like instantly like flipped in my mind. It's like that would be the clickbait titles, like, it's like, oh, this colonization thing, and again, it's like, yes, yeah, it's like it is not all roses and flowers in terms of like the reality of what happened in our history. But again, but
it's not our history. It's some fucking fantasy world.
It's a work of fiction. And in this fictional world, yes, there are parallels, it seems, but that can't, that shouldn't detract from the enjoyment of the story. Right. And you can still get something out of it.
Like, are we supposed to never approach that topic in a game? Like, come on, people, just stop.
Yeah. To me, that strikes me. Especially Kotaku is notorious for clickbait. Good or bad. It's like they are going for the clickbait, and it's like, ooh, that'll get you to click on it. It's like. Yeah, it's like you got me. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's like, if anything, if these asses that want to go nuts about this kind of thing, hey, people are actually talking about it this week, like the age of colonization, and hey, let's not forget some horrible shit happened there. So hey, it got the discussion going.
Yeah.
So tip of the hat to Spider for that. Like, nobody was fucking even thinking about that last week. So.
Exactly. It's like, it can lead to informative destruction. How do they work? Conversation.
Yeah.
And but it's, that can be in all sorts of things. I mean, so yeah.
But that aside, it is a good game. I'm very intrigued by the story. Mechanics are interesting enough. The combat is fun. It's enough to keep me interested, so I'm gonna probably play some more of that tonight and get further into that story. Nice. It's definitely giving me the explory feels, like, oh, I'm somewhere new and exotic and dangerous, and
sure, like, yeah.
There's creatures they've never seen before. It's very, very cool in that sense. So I'm very much liking that.
Well, I mean, you also mentioned like it kind of. Not to say nods to Bioware, but like elements of Bioware, and I'm assuming that's old school Bioware, and I'm hoping maybe this will be like one of those studios that can kind of like rise to the top
Yeah.
And kind of fill the shoes that I think Bioware has definitely left behind.
Ducking out of.
Ducking out of, being forced out of, if you will, for sure. Maybe we'll get into that a little later today. Some of the new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they could. I think they're doing very. I think this is, for as small of a studio as they are, this is a very nice effort. The graphics are absolutely beautiful. It's done well. I like it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And that is all I've been playing this week. I have actually been playing a lot, so yeah, I'm definitely digging what's out there right now. And yeah, that will bring us actually to release highlights and some stuff that's come out this week. Crying Suns, as I mentioned, the faster than light inspired space strategy space opera. It's very good. If you're a faster than light fan, this is a no-brainer. Go pick it up. The big news this week is Link's Awakening Remastered. It's making me want to get a Nintendo Switch, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I thought you already had one.
No.
Oh.
No, I have to get one. That has been probably a tagline of mine since the cast started. I've got to get a goddamn Switch. So I want to get one. So yeah, Link's Awakening came out, and also the original Ni no Kuni remastered. Wrath of the White Witch. That, if you have not played it, is a fantastic RPG loaded with charm. It is a... they worked with animators from Studio Ghibli.
I think it's
Ghibli. Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. And you'll recognize the style, like the whole game looks like that.
Oh, cool.
It's beautiful. And then there's like anime cutscenes on top of it. Very good RPG. Incredible story. It really is one of those, if you have not experienced Ni no Kuni yet, because you didn't have a console, now you can, because it also landed on PC. So yes, that was this week. Ni no Kuni Remastered also landed on PC. Ni no Kuni 2 came out for PC originally with the release. I actually have it. I forgot to mention, I've been playing that too this week, and very much enjoying Ni no Kuni 2. Different mechanics. It's more of a live-action RPG with, and then there's some like strategy mechanics I just got to, where it's like you're leading little armies and stuff. It's so cool. But yeah. So if you haven't picked that up yet, you really have no excuse now. It is pretty much on every console and and PC. It's not on Xbox yet. But yes, fantastic little game. Also released, Gears 5 came out since we recorded last. Gears of War 5. I'm enjoying that. I played that off and on. I played the multiplayer, which I'm having a really good time with. I played some Horde mode the other day. Made it to like round 5 with a bunch of randoms. We did all right. And then we probably would have went all the way, but baby cried. So I had to stop playing. But yeah, so I played the Horde mode, and then there's one like Escape the Hive or something like that. That was neat.
Yeah, it's their new game mode. It looks interesting.
That is cool as hell. That you're just barrel assing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hybrid of the Horde. You're like on the move, I guess, type of.
Oh, you're running your ass off to escape. Very, very cool. I like it. So yeah. I know you don't have a console, Nick, so pick it up, get that Game Pass for PC. We can play Gears 5. Yeah, we can play Gears 5 on PC. I already have it installed. Let's see. Then, oh yeah, and of course, the big one, Borderlands 3 has come out.
That's the big one. Oh yeah.
I picked that up on Xbox. Liking it very much. I'd love to play more of it, but my daughter Mia broke my main controller this week.
No!
I'm so pissed. I want to throttle your kids, but you can't. It's frowned upon. Okay, sorry. No, But the good thing being is my new job, we're actually a subsidiary of Microsoft, so I can actually buy from their company store, and I'll get a controller for
a little discount. Nice.
Yeah, like $30 total. Yeah, I can get controllers pretty cheap. So I'm going to get a new controller and threaten her with death if she breaks it again. And that should do it. But yeah, Borderlands 3, I'm kidding, people. But Borderlands 3 is very... It's fun. It's out of control with the loot and the guns, and there's all kinds of crazy weapons. The story is pretty interesting so far. I think the villains, the twins are hysterical, the Calypso twins. I think they're supposed to be like crazy and frightening, but they just make me laugh my ass off. I think they're like the funniest villains I've ever seen. They're like they're live streaming basically in the wasteland, and it's like she's like, all right, followers, here we go, let's kill them. It's just cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna like flip out and say it's like the best game ever. I think it's pretty good. We'll see how long it keeps my interest. I would probably play a lot more of it if I had someone to play co-op with. Hint.
Wink, wink. Now, is it cross-platform available or
not right away? They are going to do it.
Because I'm eyeing more the PC version. So one because I don't have a console. But...
Yeah, they're planning on it, and it'd obviously be like PC and Xbox cross-play. I don't know if PlayStation's going to get in on it or not.
Now, I will say their integration with Twitch has been really, really good. Basically, you make sure you sign into their it's whatever the program. It's like I want to say Link program, but that's not it. But whatever it is, basically you make sure it's all tied together. And the cool part is if people on the stream you're watching is playing Borderlands 3. The audience can sometimes appear as an enemy, named enemy in the game. That's one. Two, apparently viewers can actually, I say, take control. I haven't seen that it happen yet, but from what's described, basically, I guess they can like amp up or do like, cause certain power-ups to happen that the enemy will deploy against the player. The weapons, like I guess there's these special red boxes, which are high-end, loot cases, essentially. If a player comes upon those, then there's a chance for someone in the audience to get one given to them. Not necessarily the weapon the player gets, but basically it's like a random prize roll, essentially. And if you win it, you walk away with something on your game. And then a whole bunch of other cool integrations, like you can see the players' stats, their configuration of the skills and all that. And it's like, wow, this is smart. This is like fully designed. Like they definitely thought about this. Like I kind of wish more games did this because I can only think of two really right now. One was was it Dominica? I think it is, or what is it? Oh, let me bring it up here. It's on Steam. It was basically, it's like an 8-bit game. Super fun.
Domina?
Domina, yeah.
The Gladiator game?
Yeah. So Domina is the only other one that I really know of that had, that level of integration where the audience can participate heavily in terms of like, it's like with Domina, it's like, you can give, your audience can give a thumbs up or thumbs down to, for the Gladiator to like kill them or whatever. Kind of like the Roman vote essentially.
Oh wow!
And things like that. So I really wish more games, would kind of take that up in terms of like that Twitch integration because that's a great way to get your audience like engaged and
get people engaged,
participating.
That's really really cool, man. I might have to pop in the Captain's stream if he's streaming tonight. I think he was playing.
He's streaming, absolutely.
Very cool. All right. Let us jump over to the news. Sounds like you had some news too, so I want to make sure you get yours in. What was going on with what was it, Bioware?
So let's see. Do we have? Let me make sure we didn't have it already here. I don't think we do.
No, I didn't see it.
So Bioware, specifically with Anthem, has in their effort to be more transparent, have announced that the upcoming releases that they're planning for the basically the roadmap stuff no longer exists in terms of like the roadmap is gone.
Oh no.
Now, supposedly that like stuff is being worked on, but basically it's like, oh, we're just gonna do away with the roadmap. We're not gonna talk about the roadmap anymore. Just stuff will happen.
Oh,
It's like, oh, the bells are tolling here, and it's the death toll.
Oh, that sucks, man. Because I do have to agree with Matt and Mike over at Bad Fodder Figures. When I played Anthem, and was playing with a group that like it worked, and I wasn't banding all over the place and all that shit. Like the combat in that game is some of the most fun that I've ever played. That whole like Iron Man mechanic,
Sure,
is an absolute blast. But yeah, man, like they just, God, I can't believe how bad they're doing with that game. Like, why get rid of that roadmap? At least like it was something that people were looking forward to. And now it's like, we're gonna give you some stuff eventually.
Yeah, basically they committed to doing seasonal updates. So whatever,
which I'm sure they're gonna charge for.
Yeah, like who knows? They haven't specified, and we'll find out when they release stuff, I suppose. But
good Lord,
yeah, it's it seems like a lot of backpedaling of like it's like, oh, we're here and open, then we're backing off to this, and then now we're just like sometime this year, I don't know,
something might happen. We'll let you know.
we'll let you know. Yeah, our people will call your people.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, just keep an ear out. We'll get back to you. Good Lord, BioWare. Wow. Okay. Let's switch over to We're Doing It Too Now news. And EA is jumping on the cloud streaming game service bandwagon. I just don't think now's the time. I've said this a million times. The broadband infrastructure is just not ready yet. Like,
yeah, like. Again, it'll be interesting to see, and from all the stuff of like tech, or tech conferences and whatnot. Like at the conference, it usually works fine, but it's usually like right next to the main hub or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's just like like the regular consumer Joe, what is their connectivity going to be like with these things? That's the big thing.
And my instant challenge to them, like, guys, I have got a pretty sweet broadband connection, awesomely networked house as far as a nice wireless mesh. I can't even get a 100% gaming experience streaming my Xbox to my PC. Like, the capability is there, and there's like an 1/8 of a second lag. It's not much depending on the game you're playing, but it doesn't work for shooters. It doesn't work for fighting games. It's just, I don't think it's there yet. I don't want to be that old guy, get off my lawn, but I think...
I agree with you. Like, and maybe that's the thing. Like, I haven't seen like specific list of what games are shown. I want to say FPSs were shown, but it's like that's gonna be the watermark. Like, can FPSs work in the streaming environment?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be like it's impossible. It's not impossible. I just think the majority of the country, at least in the U.S.,
not there yet. Yeah, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. I mean, Japan, Korea, they got phenomenal broadband. I'm sure it'll be great over there. But yeah, we're just not there yet. We'll see what happens. I find it funny that EA is going, me too, Mom.
There's money in them dar hills, and we're going into them.
Have at it, boys. A little side note, I'm still loving my Origin Premier access that I got like that year's worth of access last December. Man, you get, aside from like the tons of games they throw in the vault, like I'm playing FIFA 20 on PC like 5 days ahead of time ahead of release. Yeah, they do some neat shit. I'm having fun with that. But yeah, that's a good move by EA. This not so much, but we'll see. And then about 15 minutes before we started recording, I activated the beta option on Steam, and I got the new Steam update that like they've been talking about for a while. That's coming. where it changes around your library. It actually looks really sweet. I like the way they did the library. It looks like actual shelves full of games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very, very cool. I do like that. And then they've curated and redone like the whole discovery mechanic. And
Okay.
like I don't know. I always thought the front page of the store kind of sucked. Like the games that it would feature and recommend were just not games I would play usually, or worse, they were games I already had, which made no fucking sense because it's supposed to do it like recommend it for you based on games you might want to buy. But yeah, it looks cool. I'm liking the choices that it's showing me so far, and yeah, definitely good move on their part. Oh, game I wanted to tell you about, Nick, that I am playing. It's averaging in the 90s in like conglomerate ratings. Called Children of Morta.
Children of Morta. I don't think I've heard of this.
It is a kind of action RPG, very cool. I'm gonna send you the link to it, just because this is another one I got a key for,
Yep.
and I'm absolutely really having a blast with it. I'll send it to you after the show. But I think, oh, here we go, copy page URL. I'm actually just going to paste it in the Discord. This is another one to check out when you have a moment. It is a really great PC RPG. I think read like the features and the reviews. It's something I think you'd really get into. Anyway, okay, back to the news. So the new Steam update is great. Now we'll go to the one more news item, and then we'll go to the free games for the month. Borderlands 3 is actually doing their first event called the Bloody Harvest. Obviously a Halloween-themed event coming in October. There's going to be haunted mobs and all kinds of stuff, and if you kill enough of them, you'll actually get access to a new map and a special in-game event.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds very neat. So I'm probably going to be checking that out. Oh yeah, I did copy a quote here. As revealed on today's episode of the Borderlands show, Bloody Harvest will be available for anyone who has completed the first act of Borderlands 3, as haunted enemies will begin to appear across the galaxy, able to inflict players with a new terror debuff, restricting their vision and gun handling. Kill enough of these haunted enemies, however, and your Vault Hunter will eventually unlock access to a new event-specific map, which promises spooky rewards to add to the list of best Borderlands legendaries already in the game so far. So, I like that.
Interesting.
Not only are they integrating with Twitch, but they're doing live events. I'm really gonna have to.
Yeah, it feels like they did their homework. It's like what is the best way to engage players and provide length life to the game. I should say, not necessarily. We're not at the length point yet. Give it a year and see where we're at in terms of stuff happening and whatnot. But yeah, it's like at least they're coming out of the gate strong.
Oh yeah, so far. And I think that will bring us toward. We're coming towards the bottom here. We mentioned on our last episode the SavePoint game of the month is Everspace. I played this a little bit in the past couple weeks since we recorded. I made it to like 3 jumps in, about 3 or 4 jumps, and then I just get destroyed.
You get murdered, yeah. It took me, I don't know, it took me a while before I think I finally made it to the end, but it was a lot of like dying in the early maps, getting those credits, coming back, and unlocking the various pilot abilities, and then I don't know. I want to say 10 to 15. Yeah, I say resets, but it's like that cycling before I really started to get far. Not only knowing how to play, but also just like you get enough abilities and kind of know what you immediately have to do to kind of proceed. So yeah, don't feel bad that you die a lot early on.
No, and I get it, it's part of the game. I actually really like the game. I love the mechanics, the space flight mechanics. Are some of the best. Yeah, some of the best since X-Wing. Really dig it. So yeah, if you haven't played Everspace, it is on Game Pass, and it's worth a shot. Like it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. Unlike Dark Souls, which is probably why my controller broke. I really shouldn't blame it on Mia. I probably did most of the damage, and she just finished it off with one good bump off a table. But yeah, no, I'm digging it so far, man. This is a good recommend. I like it. Yeah. All right, that will bring us to the question of the bye week. This one we asked this week, and I did not update the agenda, but I will go to the save point. I also need to pull up, we did get a reply on Twitter. I want to make sure I get that in as well. But the question is, what was your hardest boss battle, and what did it feel like to finally beat them? Nick, you want to take the first couple?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember, and I don't know. It's like I don't think it's any recent game because it never feels like any major boss battle is like that bad. But I want to say,
well, for us, I'd say, do you want to take the first couple on the save point?
Okay, gotcha.
Just don't let me forget it.
Okay. Gotcha. So Aaron here says Emperor Callus is a dickbag. What is that from?
He replied below it, Destiny 2, FYI.
Oh, Destiny 2. Okay, so that's why it's like, I think I've heard the name around, but yeah, haven't played Destiny 2. Oh, there we go. Let me open that up. There we go. Destiny 2. All right, got it. Retro, though, was probably Ganon. Yeah.
That was a tough one if you didn't know what to do.
Well, he's also depending on, I guess, which game Ganon. Because I know, what is it, Ocarina of Time, like he had three modes, I think. And it was very, it's that usual, JRPG, granted, Link isn't, or Zelda rather, isn't exactly an RPG, I guess, but the whole adage of it's like the boss is never done the first time. Like there's always, usually like they like their 3 modes. Sometimes there's more. So I don't know if you necessarily call that hard as opposed to just long, but definitely. I know when I was a kid, playing Ocarina, finally defeating Ganon. Oh boy, he's like, yes, I've done it. Battle forever.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. All right, the next one up is our buddy Josh Ian. Does killing it with 9 or 24 or 39 of my closest friends count? Pick a raid boss from Classic WoW to Cataclysm. Haha. They all got pushed down over time. Yeah, he's hardcore in the WoW Classic right now. And then nice. Aaron actually replied to him, Ani, 25, many whelps, handle it. Anixia. Yeah, WoW's raids were definitely challenging. I got out, I think I did Molten Core, and then that was pretty much the last time I had played, and that was when Molten Core was new, so I think that was relative classic vanilla WoW.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one's yours.
All right, Philip says the final boss in Wise 3, Wonders from Wise. East? I've never even heard of this game.
Oh, ES, or East, sorry, YS or East. Yeah, it's a great role-playing game series, actually. There's there's a bunch of them. And you can get them on PC.
It's always the RPGs, man. RPGs, I think consistently have the hardest bosses.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I remember
that without fail.
I would totally agree because that's my tough boss. And then Crystal Games, the secret boss in Octopath Traveler. That's another reason I need a Switch. In the post,
I want to play this game. I keep hearing good things about it.
I've heard awesome. Yeah, nothing but awesome. In the post-game dungeon, I tried several times and had to give up, grind some more, and return. You split your characters into 2 groups. Oh, that's like boss fight I'm going to bring up. So everyone has to be leveled up and power through a 2-phase fight. It was tough.
Again, those multi-phase fights.
I'm telling you, it's going to
get you every time.
Yeah. And we had a reply on Twitter from Captain Mike from Bad Fodder Figures. Currently, Billy the Anointed and his teleporting purple ass. That's Borderlands 3.
Okay.
Yeah, the boss fights in Borderlands 3 are a bitch. First guy I fought could like electrify the floor,
Whoa.
and I was just jumping around like a fucking idiot, and somehow I managed to I would jump on top of something and I could avoid it, but you just had to be quick, and that was a tough one. That was a very tough fight, and I hear they just get harder, so fun. Love that. And we actually have some voicemails. Nick, if you have the voicemail number in front of you, why don't you give that out real quick?
Sure. Let me bring it up here. There it is. 610-810-1654.
And you can call the voicemail to answer our questions the bye week, or you can just shoot shit with us, complain, give your opinion on current events. I don't care. As long as it's game related, give us a shout. Or even if you want to talk about the fucking spaghetti you ate for dinner, I don't give a fuck. All right.
I want to talk about the spaghetti you had for dinner.
All right, let's roll on over to the voicemail. Who could it be?
What's going on, Retro-rents of the retros of the retros? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, I see Al's back on his feet, huh? Yep, way to go, Al, way to go.
Yes.
I'm not sure why you were sick. I think you were playing games with us. If I do recall, I believe you say you're a whiskey man, Al.
Yes,
Al,
sir.
if you're sick or you're feeling sick, all you do is pump all that blood out of your veins and get that whiskey flowing through it.
And
it
I
will
did.
fix you right up. You'll be feeling great. You'll be on the roof dancing. You'll be throwing mud balls at cars as they go by. You'll be out on the front lawn making grass angels, screaming Captain Mike's the best Red Sox fan ever. Yeah, so you feel good about that.
Not enough alcohol for that, buddy.
You let me down, Al. You let me down. You actually postponed the show, and I was all ready to call in. But that's all right. No, I'm just kidding with you. I'm glad you're feeling better. Let's see. So let's get on to business. On to business. Question of the week was beating down the bosses, and how do you feel? So I guess this all came from when you left your last job, right, Al? You went in that on that last day of your job, and you played the smackdown on your
my
boss.
game bosses, brother.
You said, I'm going to my new job. That's right. You said not to say anything. But I'm sorry. Wait. Edit this out, Al. Edit this out. Sorry.
I'm already at the new job,
people
Bubba.
on the internet, Al did not lay a beating on his last boss. A little misunderstanding there. I didn't mean that. Okay. In all seriousness, let's see bosses up. Yeah, I'm gonna change it up because old Fred always changes it up. You know, it's too easy to be normal. It's much funner to be different. So
that's why we love you, Fred.
Yeah, most of that comes down to is when I play games anymore, I really don't put it on a very hard difficulty. So I don't have many memories of beating really hard bosses because I'm cheesing the game. But I do have a thing I did in a game that I'm very proud of to this day. And I mean, it's kind of a boss thing, kind of odd, but I don't know if you remember, but Call of Duty, I believe it was Modern Warfare, they had that thing where it was called the Mile High Club Achievement, where you got on that plane. This was all an extra thing, so you didn't have to do this if you didn't want to. But anyway, you got on that plane. You're at the back of the plane, and you had to make it to the front of the plane and save the plane by taking out all the hijackers, I guess you would say. And you only had a certain amount of time. You had weapons. You had to know when to reload. You had to know right. You couldn't shoot any civilians. It wasn't run and gun. You know, it wasn't let it fly. You had to, if you shot a civilian, it was over. But I did it. I did indeed do it. Boy, I tell you, that's the closest I ever came to taking my controller and slamming it off the floor. Yeah, when I did it, I think I kind of kissed the controller and said, look, you're still alive. Because, boy, I'll tell you what, that was one of the hardest things I think I've ever done in video games. I don't know if any of you guys ever did that or tried it, or if anybody listening did. I'd be curious to see if anybody else got through it and what they thought. But that's my input, gentlemen. Hopefully everybody's doing great. Keep up the good work, guys.
Oh, and Uncle Fred got cut off. We got one more.
Unbelievable. I'm getting a bad reputation here of being the double caller on most of these shows I'm calling in on anymore.
We love it, Fred.
I gotta find a way to tighten things up or do something here. Maybe I can take one of those speed talking courses.
No,
talk like
you
that.
just
but
keep
anyway,
doing
I do apologize for the second call, gentlemen, but I couldn't leave without the old Arriba Turkey.
Fred, you don't worry. If you got to call in 3 times, we enjoy it, my friend. Yes, I do remember the level he's talking about. And I think I actually broke a controller on that level. I was younger and had anger issues. Yeah, no, that is a very tough one. You said you remember that one too?
Oh yeah, like it was specifically for the achievement because I think you could get through the level, just normally, but to get the achievement, the mile high achievement, you had to do, I want to say it's like a minute something.
Wow.
And yeah, there was no margin for error. You had to, like I said, you had to like time your reloads at the right point. It was basically like when you're like moving through the room once you've killed everything, that would be your point of reload. And he couldn't miss anything because if you missed, then you were putting yourself behind in terms of like your clip size.
Oh, jeez.
And yeah, so like it required a whole lot of just like practice and timing and getting it just right. And yeah, I think I did it. I like jumped up and down like, I did it. And then I never played it again.
It's funny though. I've seen games do that to me where it's like, I just want to get that damn achievement, and then you get it, and you're like, all right, I'm fucking done with this. I think for me, for my boss fight, the most memorable, and it was a challenge from what I remember, for a similar reason to, I'm sorry, what was her name? Crystal Games had said, and that is in Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo. That final boss fight, I think you split your party into 3.
Oh yeah. You had to like go up the mountain in 3 different parties, and each one had to fight a portion of was it a portion of Kefka, I think?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last party that fought like the hardest version of him too. So yeah. I remember borrowing it from my friend, and I was like sick. It was over the summer, and I was just like in bed for a week, and this was all I'd played. And I remember just grinding my face off with as many of my characters as I could to like get everybody leveled to a point where we were pretty diesel. And the fight, if I remember correctly, still took, I want to say it was like time. It was like almost a half hour to 40 minutes.
I think that's right. Like I remember going back and watching a speedrunner do it, and they're doing all sorts of things. I think like flat out with a speedrunner takes something like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's speedrunning. So like, yeah, for us, like I want to say it was 30 to 45 minutes if you were like, going in fresh type of thing, or even, kind of like semi know what you're doing. But yeah, I remember that battle just took forever.
It was tough. And I just remember when you finally like saw the like it would do the flash and the bang to show that you beat the boss.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember like leaping out of bed like, yeah! I was like, cracking voice, 5th grader or 6th grade.
I don't think I did it until the credits were in, because it was one of those like, is there going to be, because I think that's more than 3 on that one. Because there's like your separate parties, and then I think the final one is like,
that's right, it like melds
a 3 or 4 sequence.
That's right.
So it's like you didn't know where the end. Like there's so many more false endings than a Marvel movie here.
yeah. No, that is.
It's so like it wasn't until the credits started rolling, like it's over. Oh my god,
I did it. Yeah, and I remember like literally like cheering top of my lungs, like I couldn't believe I'd done it. And I remember too, I was down to like my last character.
Oh.
Like I had like 1 spell left, like one last hurrah, and I just casted the most powerful offensive spell I had, and it was it. It beat him. I was like, holy shit! Like I couldn't believe it. And but I think the best part about that game too was the ending was mega rewarding. I think the ending itself was 20 minutes.
Oh, so, yeah, with especially depending on how much stuff you did, or rather unlocked, or whatever you want to call it. I think the super long ending is about another half hour, where it's just like
and I remember I had unlocked
all the
everything.
Resolution, and then you see the resolution of like every character, and it's like, and I felt it with the one basically the 100%, it puts a nice bow on things in terms of like all
that effort was worth it.
all the effort was worth it. I want to say that there was there were some touching moments, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's like that they finally did it, and it's like,
Yeah, big
yeah,
payoffs. Big
yeah.
payoffs.
So very
Yeah.
much so.
And to this day, that is still like my basis of comparison for good, rewarding video game endings. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. To this day, like, for a lot of the time and effort I put into a lot of these games, like, I loved that with Final Fantasy VI, the crazy amount of effort and fight you had to put into that boss fight. And it just rewarded you with, like, sit back, relax, and watch what happens due to all the stuff you did as you played. And I just remember sitting back like, wow, this is so great. And I've got to pee, but I can't. There's no pause. And yeah, I just remember that stuck with me from the time that game came out. So probably, I want to say like I was 6th grade, so early 90s for sure. And it stuck with me ever since. I still use it as a basis of comparison for A, challenging boss fights, and B, well worth it endings. How about you,
Completely
sir?
agree. So Final Fantasy was on my list, but I don't think it was surprisingly, I don't think I classify as my hardest. I think it was Castlevania. Sticks out of my mind. I think it was
the original
the final. No, the recent one.
Symphony of the Night.
Oh
no, Lords of Shadow.
Lords of Shadow. Yeah, with
Satan.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Zolback when we fought Zolback.
Yeah. I feel
God.
like that sticks out to me as like one of the last hardest boss battles that I are participating. Outside of raid bosses, they're absolutely hard, but that I feel like I don't know, it's a different stage.
I feel like that's artificially hard, like. So that
because it has to balance you got 50 players whacking on this thing. You got to make it.
That fucking Zolback fight. I remember you and I just passing the controller back. And forth,
and that always to me that's always like a sign of a good long boss battle in terms of it's truly hard and you really got to get it down. Where it's like you're passing it back and forth. Like it's like when the other one's playing, you're kind of observing it. Like if I jump here,
give me. I think I got it.
Like no, I don't got it. Yeah, take this back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I gotta say, now that you made me think about it, that is probably the last one, the last boss fight I remember that I really was really hard, and I beat it. I mean, every fucking fight in Dark Souls is like a goddamn boss fight, but I don't get very far. But yeah, that one that one had incredible boss fights too, like that Titan in the snow, where we're climbing up the thing.
Some really fun ones.
Really creative boss fights. But yeah, so that is our question of the bye week. That's a good one, Nick. I forgot about that till you mentioned it. But that vivid memory. Well, fuck it, your turn. That was fun though. All right, that will bring us to the end of the show, to conclusions, final thoughts, and shout-outs. Nick, any shout-outs or promotions or anything that you're up to?
Nothing right now. Nothing really on the docket so far. Just kind of finally chilling. The old house is going on the market, so I'm happy about that. And now just gotta sell it, get it off the books. I'll be happy. Finally get my weekends back a little bit. No more moving or cleaning things up. And just last.
I can enjoy this now.
Yeah, I can enjoy the weekend again.
That's great. As for me, a big shout out to the fans and the listeners. As always, I want to say if you're enjoying the show, iTunes reviews really help us out. If you could leave a review on iTunes for the show, I put the iTunes link every week when I post it. I'm pretty sure I do, and that would really help us to get us towards the top of the search results and expose other people to our show. Always appreciate that. But I appreciate everybody that comes and listens every week, leaves their feedback and input in the SavePoint and our Discord. Always appreciated. Thank you all for that. A shout out. I'm going to shout you boys out every week until you guys get a goddamn show up there. But Everyday Gamers, where are you? We miss you. We need a show. Shout out to them.
Do it.
Yeah, hope you guys are okay. Hope everything is well. Bad Fodder Figures, Mike, Jeremy, Eric, Matthew. Shout out, fellas. Hope you are all doing good. They took the week off, so just a shout out to them. Looking forward to the next show. Actually, they didn't take the week off. I think they had some technical difficulties, and they have class. They won't release. But me, I'm like, fuck it. You're gonna get the episode with Audio Duck Nick. And yeah, well, I'll live and learn. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Gabe and Router and all the fellas over at Married to the Games. I just listened to their recent episode, and Gabe had mentioned that his father-in-law passed away last week. So my condolences, Gabe, to you, to your wife. That's really, really horrible. And just thinking of you guys, and hope you find strength and comfort in each other in this very difficult time. So thoughts are with all of you. And then a shout out to the gang over at Tap the Craft, my latest podcast obsession of craft beer education, I think is a great way to call it. They focus on different kinds of beer and history of beer or whatever. Every episode is different, and it's very educational and very cool. I'm learning a lot about the different beers that are out there. And Denny just seems like this beer Jedi, Denny Luce, and he's really interesting to listen to. Like, he's very, very into the subject matter, and he knows his shit. And it's just, he explains it in a very fun way, and I don't know. I can't get enough of the show. I love it. So big shout out to them. And then as far as us, if you want to hang out with us, talk to us, whatever, you can reach us. One of the easier ways is on the SavePoint, our Facebook kind of book club for games. And that's at tiny.cc/SavePoint. You can email us, theretrorents@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at theretrorents, or you can talk to us individually. If you got some beef with anything I said this week, you can hit me up at RetroRentsL, and you can hit Nick up at Black Eagle Ops. Eagle, like the bird. And we are all on Twitch. RetroRentsL on Twitch. Kibis for Kyle, Black Eagle Ops for Nick, Soda X Red for Travis. Actually, we just got some word. Kyle is going to be joining us.
Oh snap!
Very soon. We might do a kind of bonus episode. Yeah, we usually record every other week, but he did mention he is going to be available this coming Friday. So might record another episode. Nick, obviously, you're more than welcome. I know you don't usually come every week, but if you can make it, I think we're definitely going to record, just because we have not talked to Kyle in a long time, and I miss talking games with him. So cross fingers, we'll have another episode coming next week, and Kyle will be on the show. But that will end it for episode 46. Thank you, everybody, for listening, downloading, for sharing the show, and for all the feedback you give us and all the interaction in the SavePoint. And people that call in. Los, haven't heard from you in a while, but Fred, man, you are a champ. And you just be you, brother. You don't worry about any artificial time limits. We love the calls, and you always have something cool to say. And I have to say I hadn't thought about that Call of Duty level in a while, but I am remembering.
Brings
vividly.
back the memories.
I remember it vividly now. Yeah, that was a tough one. But on that note, we will call it an end for the week. Have a good coming week, everybody. Play games, have fun, don't be dicks. See ya.
Peace.